Hi. So I wanted to now come away from alignment and start talking about how we move. And a lot of our movement, not outside of class, I don't think, but in class, is about moving our pelvis, mobilizing that joint. So your pelvis is the bony bit of here of the pelvis structure. Your pelvis is the bony bit here. When we're aligned, as we've talked about, your protruding iliac there, the bony bits of your hip there, are aligned with your pubic bone here, and that informs lovely neutral spine and just that lovely comfortable posture that we've talked about a lot. But in order to ease any stiffness or tension in the pelvis, we do pelvic tilts. They are also really useful for informing you how you hold your pelvis. And as we pass through the tilts, it helps educate you about where it's been before, where you might ordinarily hold it, or maybe it's a completely fresh and new thing for you. So we start nice and neutral, everything really flat, and then we think about our tailbone here, and we roll it underneath ourselves. So this is like your pelvis here where my hand is. That's what it might look like. And then you roll it, wheel it forwards. Actually, that creates a posterior tilt in your pelvis. But it's like as your tailbone goes underneath yourself, your pubic bone becomes higher than your hips here, and you've actually moved your pelvis so it's tilting posteriorly backwards. And then for me, I like to hold the hip so I can kind of direct the feeling. If I press into my thumbs and guide my fingertips downwards, I can take the tailbone upwards, kind of hook it upwards towards the ceiling. And now my pelvis is forwards. It's that lovely anterior shape. The pubic bone is clearly now further back than the forward hips. So my hips are there, my pubic bone's further back. And we can ease in and out of that really nicely as we learn or introduce our bodies to this movement. And we notice how we feel as we roll the tailbone under and backwards, and learn if that's pleasant. Is it a nice sensation, or is it a little bit painful? And we would draw back if that's the case. And then we align back into a nice level aligned Pilates and that lovely straight back as straight backs get. There's a tendency when we're first learning this to kind of thrust the whole unit of our body to and fro, but it really is like dissecting the body, just thinking about like isolating this little bit of it there. And you can actually see when I tuck my bum under, the glutes want to squeeze. That's okay. And then when you stick your bum out, you get this long lengthening in your abdomen there. If we go around in a posture like this, you can see how it will affect the tension that you hold in your body. This is really tight, so this actually feels quite achy here. These are really long, you're lengthening these tissues, so they've got no power to help ease that curve in your back. When we start to engage the tummy muscles, shortening this area here, tightening these muscles, it can create a real alleviation for your back that's now nice and neutral again. So you can see how being nice and aligned really is efficient and actually safe and feels calm in your back. And the same if you go around like this, you're lengthening your hip flexors, everything's really long, and you're probably taking a lot of stuff in your shoulders there, that real kyphotic pose that you might just have gained through just being utterly fed up in life. Well, we fold ourselves out, we blossom ourselves out into a more harmonious and feeling of belonging and inserting yourself into this alignment, coming out of this. And it can really help make you feel much better in yourself if we're just holding our head high and, well, not high aligned, lengthened, um, as we go about our life, and just feeling that we do belong here in this, lengthened and lovely aligned sense that we can have as we go out into the world. So that's pelvic tilts in that gait.